This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So I've been using the GFX system specifically for weddings and engagements, and honestly, I'm wondering if it is the best choice. What's up? If you're new to the channel, I'm John from John Branch 4 Photography. I'm a wedding photographer and have been photographing weddings for over 11 years. I've been exclusively on the Fujifilm system for the past at least 8 years or so I'm very familiar with Fujifilm. I recently started using the GFX system for weddings and I absolutely loved it. If you want to see some of my results, I have a full wedding day where I used only GFX systems. I'll link it up above and in the description below. But this is going to be an off-the-cuff kind of video. I'm just going to ramble along and I want you all to join me in my thoughts of what I'm thinking about if it makes sense to use the GFX system for weddings. So the reason this topic even came up is recently I second shot for another photographer and I didn't feel like bringing all of my epic GFX gear, so I just went light and easy with my good old X-T5s. Now the X-T series of Fujifilm cameras is how I started out with the Fujifilm system. I started with the X-T2, moved up to the X-T3, which was hands down my favorite camera. Got the X-T4 for a moment and I'm not a huge fan of the X-T4, and eventually upgraded to the X-T5. X-T5 was supposed to be my main camera for weddings. I upgraded everything, upgraded my lenses to make sure that they can match the new 40 megapixels, and X-T5 was where I was supposed to sit. That's what I told my wife at least. But after some coaxing, I ended up buying the GFX 102 and also the 100 RF, which honestly is one of my favorite cameras. So now I'm doing the typical, like, oh, what's that new lens coming in the mail? Oh, it's not a new lens. So I took the X-T5s to this second photographer gig and I shot, and the photos came out absolutely amazing. And I was like, I almost always forget that the X-T5 hits. It looks great. So it begs the question, why am I even shooting GFX with these extremely heavy cameras and or lenses that at best when they're wide are like f4, and they're expensive and it's slow because it's medium format? But why am I doing it? So let's talk about what I'm thinking about when it comes to the pros and cons, I guess, or just the different areas between the two cameras, and then I'll let you all be the deciders of what makes the most sense. So leave it in the comments below if I should still be shooting with the X-T5s or I should stay GFX only. The first and probably biggest thing I'm curious about with the GFX system is actually its weight. If you're a wedding photographer like I am, you know something like the weight of the camera actually matters. If you're doing something else like landscapes or portraits or studio work, the weight of the camera can be kind of half and half. I mean, it might matter for landscapes since you're like traveling to like locations and things, but for the most part, the weight isn't that big of an issue. But for a wedding photographer, when you're carrying your cameras on your back all day for 8+ hours, even the littlest bit of weight gain makes a huge difference. So when I put those X-T5s back on after using the GFX system for so long, it was just so much better on my back. I made it through the full wedding day and I wasn't like totally destroyed. It's better for my legs. It's better for my knees. So the big question here is, does it make sense to use something like the GFX system? Clearly I could go with something like the GFX 102S or S2. I'm forgetting the names now. But it would make more sense than the GFX 102 because the thing is huge. You know, it's like so huge, you can change out the viewfinder. It's just a lot, where I would save a little bit of weight going with the 100S2. But even then, you're still talking it's way more heavy than the X-T5. And again, it's not even just the body, it's also the lenses. My two favorite lenses on the GFX system are the 55 and the 80 1.7. And those are some huge, they're like this thick, they're like huge lenses. Whereas my biggest lenses on the XT series is maybe the 56 f1.2, and that's a light lens. So this actually makes a big difference too, because if you've seen my videos, you know I wear a bag on my back. And if I have two flashes and the big 80 1.7 in that bag, that thing is heavy. So weight is a big issue, and on this topic, the X-T5s are winning there. The second thing that's a huge concern and something I'm always thinking about as well is the price. If you know the difference between the GFX and XT systems, you know the GFX system is way more pricey. And that makes sense. Again, it's medium format. You have extremely large lenses. It's a lot to even make these cameras. I honestly don't know how Fujifilm makes it with the cameras working as well as they do, because they're amazing cameras. But you're talking like the 56 f1.2 on the XT series is, I don't know, maybe $2,000. I don't know. I'll put a screenshot here. I can't remember how much it costs. Whereas if you get something like the 55 or the 80, you're paying like $3,000 just for that lens. And again, the difference between the bodies, an X-T5 is like what, 15 to 1800, somewhere in that range, whereas like a GFX 100S2 or 102 is going to run you 5 to push it near $10,000. So that's a huge difference. And again, upgrading and moving to different lenses is going to be a huge difference. One thing I loved so much about the XT series when I started it is that even the cheaper lenses in Fujifilm's lineup are extremely amazing lenses. So I started out with all their f2 lenses, as I like to call them, the 23 f2, the 35 f2. These weren't like the fastest lenses they had on the market, but they looked great and they did what I needed them to do and got me great results at every wedding. So going forward, price is a big thing I'm taking into account. Obviously, as a business owner, we need to get away from gas and just buying things up all the time and actually focusing on making income. And the best way you can do that is with cheaper gear and also not buying gear all of the time. This again is a win for the XT series because the GFX is expensive. Like, I would love to shoot with dual GFX, but it's not gonna work. And actually the 100 RF ended up fixing something for me that I wasn't even thinking about. So I was always concerned with having a wider lens for the GFX system, but I didn't want to buy a whole GFX and then one of their like 35 f4 lenses or whatever the widest lens they have, and then have to be switching the lens all the time. Because again, the lenses are thick. My hands aren't big. Those lenses are like huge for me. It's an issue. But the 100 RF already has a super wide lens on it, and then it has that built-in crop. So I just use the RF as my wider camera, and then the GFX 102 is my tight camera, and I have absolutely loved the results. Something else you will love the results of as well is building a website with this video sponsor, Squarespace. As a professional photographer, having a website is the most important thing you can do for your business to separate you from just being a person with a social media following that seems big and you kind of take photos. You want to look like a legitimate business so you can actually make money. And Squarespace can help you do that by making it easy for you to build your website. They have amazing templates that you can easily use and customize to your own look without any knowledge of design. This way, you're able to put together your website, show off your portfolio, and get potential new clients. They have top-class customer service, which is always there to help you out with anything you need, and great features like analytics, commerce for selling physical and digital products, member pages, blog pages, and so much more. Anything you need to do with your website, you're going to be able to do on Squarespace. So if you haven't already built your own website now, I highly recommend using Squarespace. I've been on them for over 10 years now, and it is an amazing service. Make sure to check out the link in the description below for 10% off of your first website or domain, and get yourself a website to show off your business online. The next place that always comes up for me when it comes to the GFX versus the XT series is performance. Performance is extremely important for wedding photographers. It's probably the first thing that is on the top of your mind when you're buying a camera, and I can say both cameras perform extremely well, but if you want to be extremely fast and snappy and able to move quickly, the XT series seems to be the better choice there. Now, Fujifilm has done some kind of crazy magic to get the GFX system to work the way it does, because you can legitimately shoot weddings with it. When I first shot a full wedding, only GFX, which I'll link that full wedding day up here above as well, I was extremely worried if it was going to be able to keep up with the day. And I told my second shooter, like, any of the primary moments of the day, like the first kiss, please double up on those because I'm worried about the camera. Ever since then, which that was the GFX 100S, ever since then, the GFX system has only gotten better. While it's not as fast as the XT series, it is still extremely fast for a medium format camera. The way I would explain it is it really reminds me of what the cameras were like when I first started. So this was back in what, 2014, 2015. So you're talking like 6 to 8 frames at the top range. You're talking autofocus, actually way better than those 2014 cameras, but the same kind of weight and feel and size. And I used to shoot weddings back then, because that's the biggest thing I hate now. People complain about cameras because they can't like read into the future and autofocus your soul. You know, like if it doesn't autofocus perfectly forever inside your eye into your soul, people are just like, oh, it's not good. Autofocus is bad. No, Fujifilm GFX system is amazing. The fact that it's a 100 megapixels and I'm keeping up with full wedding days is insane to me. However, you do have to know how to approach your wedding days. You can't just jump in there and be like, let me take pictures of anything I see. Let me just, like, you have to be calculated and know what you're taking photos of, because getting a photo like that out of the blue is not really what the GFX system is going to do. Now, compared, if the XT system is very snappy, very fast, and like I said, I've been shooting GFX pretty much for like a whole year straight. And so when I first picked these XTs back up, I forgot how much faster the camera is than the GFX system. Because again, you're shooting 40 megapixels, you're shooting crop sensor. It's just so much faster. The readout speed is faster. The autofocus is faster. It's just a smaller, faster system. It's almost like me, like a 40-year-old man trying to run against a 16-year-old who's on the track team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to keep up. I used to run a bit myself, but I'm not going to be as fast as a 16-year-old who's on the track team. That's what it feels like the difference is between the GFX and the XT system. So again, for performance, honestly, it's in my opinion, kind of half and half, because really, if you think about what the GFX system is doing, in my opinion, it's just as fast as the XT series. It's just more so, again, if you want to be able to pop your camera up at a moment's notice and just snap a photo and get it and not worry about the autofocus and things like that, GFX is not so much going to do that. It depends on the lighting and things and just the overall scenario and what lens you have on it. But for medium format, it is absolutely amazing. And then the biggest thing when it comes to the GFX system versus the XT series is the image quality. Now, this one I have a harder time with, mainly because I'm not a pixel peeper. I know a lot of you love to pixel peep, but to me, I don't see the point. When people are viewing our images, they're either being printed like this. These are like 8x5s. They're going to be online, on a digital gallery, on your Instagram, on your website. You're never viewing your photos that large. So the question here is, what is the point of the GFX system? Now, I will say, in my opinion, from what I've seen of the GFX system, is with all that resolution at 102 megapixels, you can still see it even when the photos are very small. The photos are so crispy. Like, go on my website and look, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell the difference between GFX and XT photos. But the GFX photos look so good, and they're just so crispy, and I cannot get away from shooting it. I feel like every time I use the GFX, I just can feel it in the photo that it was 102 megapixels. There's so much resolution, almost sometimes it's almost too much resolution. Whereas like I have to go touch up the skin way more than I would want to, because it's just like, it's so much resolution. And those lenses, the 55 f1.7, oh my God, it is my favorite lens. If you have not used it, definitely rent it, because so good. And honestly, when it comes to image quality too, one thing I love about having 102 megapixels is the fact I can just crop in on my photos. Like the photographer I was seconding for the last time, she loves to crop her photos. So generally when I second with her and I'm using the GFX system, I pretty much just shoot the 55 the majority of the day. Maybe I'll use the 80 if I need a little bit more reach for like the ceremony, but she likes that space and being able to crop in. And GFX gives you that. You can do that. Like I go to my engagement sessions with the 55 f1.7 and then the GFX 100 RF for my wide shots, and that's it. Because if I need to tighten up a photo, I can just crop way in it because 102 megapixels, like, I feel like I can crop into the future. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, there's my photo. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. But then again, you look at XT series photos and they look great. And again, like I just said, you're mainly viewing your photos smaller. So at that point, it's like, well, then what's the point? Are you printing a billboard? No. You don't necessarily need 102 megapixels. Again, the cropability is nice. X-T5 has like 40 megapixels, so it is croppable, but it also still is crop sensor. So like you can crop it, but only but so much. But X-T5 looks great. And if you know how to work with the files, I get great results out of these photos. And putting them side by side sometimes, I'm just like, honestly, I could deal with any. I mean, sometimes I shoot the GFX 102 with the X-T5 at a single wedding, and together the photos just look great. So image quality is like a toss-up. It's really about being able to crop my photos and just that little extra bit of resolution. Because again, whenever you shrink a photo down, if it has a lot of resolution, you can kind of see it in the photo. So I don't know if this goes to the X-T5 or not. Y'all let me know what you think from all the photos you just saw. If you would say quality goes to the X-T5 or GFX. I know you're just watching it on YouTube, but that's half of my point. Like, pixel peeping is great, but what does it matter? You're like, oh, the GFX looks way better at 5,000%. Who looks at like, it's not a photo no more. You're looking at lines. You know, like, I'm not doing that. I'm a wedding photographer. I'm capturing moments and emotions. I don't care what it looks like at 500% zoom. Like, I'm sorry. No one cares. Your couples don't care. So really, image quality comes down to overall, how do the photos feel, and if that cropability makes sense. So from all this data I gave you, it sounds like the XT series wins, but I'm telling you, every time I use a GFX, I'm just like, I cannot get enough of this. And that's what happened. That's what made me start shooting GFX for like over a year, is that every time I came back with the photos, I was like, oh my God, so good. And then I laid my XT5s down to rest and they were collecting dust. And really, it wasn't till like last weekend that I used them. And I was like, hey, these boys is hitting, you know? So what do you all think? Let me know what I should start doing. I wish YouTube had polls. Maybe they do. Maybe I'll add one on like the community features or whatever. But I'll leave a poll and let me know in the comments below, GFX or X-T5, what makes more sense for me to shoot overall? I'm still leaning GFX, but with my age and weddings being rough, and I have way more weddings booked next year than I thought I was going to have, I might have to just go back to the X-T5s because it just makes so much more sense. X-T5 was my bread and butter, and that weight difference is so good. It is so much better. Let me know what you think, and if you want to see off the cuff videos like this where I'm kind of just here in your face making videos, let me know, because again, the YouTube algorithm is hating and my videos aren't getting viewed anymore. Let me know what y'all want to see and maybe that'll help out. Hit a like, and if that hype button's down there, hype up this video, hype up my full wedding day videos, and since we're talking about them, check them out here, and I will catch you all next time.